Hi, you've reached Call Your Publicist, your go to source for PR moves, media moments, and brand strategies that keep businesses and people in the headlines for the right reasons. I'm one of your hosts, Jenna Guarneri, CEO and founder of JMG Public Relations.
And I'm your co-host, Alexandra Anastasio. Let's start talking.
All right, we're here to talk about the Sydney Sweeney controversy that's happening right now because I was asked to speak about it recently. And initially, I don't get wrapped up into anything that might be too controversial in a negative way because I do know that has gone that route. But then I thought for a minute, there's a PR perspective on this entire thing, especially when it
100%.
comes to a business and a brand. And so we started diving into this and started to try to pull this apart to understand it a little bit. And
We have
so
dived or dove. We dove deep.
100%.
And I'm still diving.
And I'm fascinated by this. There's so
We're down
much
the rabbit hole.
information, and it just there are more comparisons keep coming out. They started comparing it to Brooke Shields. So to recap, for who is not familiar with this, right? Sydney Sweeney did an ad, a bunch of ads. There was a bunch of different versions of the ad for American Eagle, right? I would call it all American brands, right? They've been around for quite a while.
I was going to say,
Right. I don't know if they've done anything that's been as large as this because you have brands like Guess. I would put them in the same route. Like they've all been in the mall and the retailers, and they always have these celebrity endorsers.
Yeah.
And so this is the first time I feel like American Eagle really came out the gate hard with they went for that A-list celebrity
factor.
Correct.
I don't know if it. I don't want to say did it backfire. I don't know.
Well, stock is up today for the brand,
true.
which is interesting.
That's true. I mean, well, look, we're sitting here talking about it. Isn't that a PR move?
It's 100%. But did they intend for it to be this route, this direction? Because I don't know if you can sometimes. You go in thinking one thing and then it sways into a completely different direction.
Well, I was going to say, I have to look at some of this. Like when you put together an ad campaign, obviously you want to have reach.
Right.
You want to, whatever the goal is of that ad campaign, right? Whether it's to sell jeans, raise money, raise awareness. But I wonder when you sit at the table, right? And you're brainstorming before the whole thing, when you're storyboarding this, do you account for all of the things that could happen or
from the PR perspective,
right? Or talked about.
PR would be normally involved with some of these things just to play it safe and be cautious. So I think too that was our first thought in this too, and why I wanted to talk about it because when you're working with a brand partner, any kind of collaboration, another brand, a person, you always try to think about. You still want to keep who you are as a brand,
right?
Very clear in that partnership and that, branding. And I wonder if American Eagle lost sight of that because, the way it seems is that, they were probably super excited about this. They got this huge A-list talent. Finally, they could do something big. And Sydney Sweeney's personal brand, right? You have the personal brand of Sydney Sweeney, and then you have the brand of American Eagle, right? The company that she has the soap with the dirty water, right? It works. It sells.
I heard about that, but I didn't really too much about that
but
because
I think it sells. It sells. So, but that's her lane. So I think it works. So I think they tried to use her lane, but I think brands today that doesn't work.
So one of the videos in particular where she's laying on a couch or a chair or a lounge, whatever, and she's how do I describe it? She's talking into the camera. It's very sensual in her voice.
It's that vibration voice.
Yeah, like buttoning up the jeans and talking about, and it's very close on the body. So I was like, I don't really know what's happening right now.
A little uncomfortable.
Yeah.
A little cringy.
Yeah. And then she's talking about how good jeans start like in your family. They're passed down. Her jeans, she has blue eyes. Her jeans are blue. I don't know. And then I just felt like, okay, what, like, are we selling sex here? What are we doing? I don't really know. And are you saying that your jeans, right, meaning your blonde hair, your blue eyes, is that the norm? I don't know. I don't know. I'm really.
And as a brand, if this is the message you're writing out for the script, you usually would take a step back and be like, would we be offending someone? That's not really the norm anymore, right? People come in all different shapes and sizes and colors, and this is portraying just that one look. why would we want to say, and also too, I think that it's promoting something that's not healthy for young women, right? Saying that you have to, this is what beautiful is. Thin, tall, blonde, right?
Right.
Like it's,
But then I wonder when they were sitting around the table and they were
Mhm.
planning, which I thought this campaign, and I just looked quickly, was all to support charity, but apparently it wasn't. It was, the campaign is to sell their line of jeans,
like
and then I guess
their new
their new
collection.
collection, and then they had a special Sydney jean that the proceeds went to, I
Oh,
think.
so she had her own jean within the collection.
Right.
Oh, okay.
But still, I'm wondering when they were sitting around the table and they were storyboarding this and brainstorming, maybe it wasn't as deep as a lot of people are looking into. And maybe it was just, she's blonde. Well, she is. Blue eyes, denim, blue. And so she connected like that. Like, I wonder, are people really diving deep into it and looking at it and from a perspective that's not it? And it was
Right.
just about,
But
she's
I
got
do
blue
think
eyes and it's denim.
brands
I
are
don't know.
now responsible for thinking of all the possible perspectives of what their message is conveying. Not just that one, here's what we're brainstorming. You have to think about what other people will think and how will that hit.
So now that this has come out,
Yeah.
right? The commercial's out. Obviously, it's being talked about. You were asked to speak about
Mhm.
it. Articles are being written. We're talking about it. How would you say you were the PR for, like,
Mhm.
would this be considered like a crisis PR? Is it now go into like crisis mode? Is there something
Oh
that has to
yeah.
be done? I mean, listen, stock went up, so obviously people are talking about it.
Business is doing well, we'll say,
Right.
but brand perception
Right. So do you think
is
something like this is something that hurts a brand? I mean, because if you think about,
could.
we're going to dial it back many, many years and talk about Calvin Klein and Brooke
Brooke
Shields.
Shields.
And when she was, I think it was like 15 and was just doing the, Calvin commercials. I think there was the one where she says, like, nothing gets between me and my Calvins. And
Mhm.
that might have been a tagline for the brand. But as a 15-year-old, that had a connotation of sex and
Which
sex
is
sells.
weird and wrong in so many
Right.
levels. Right.
But it didn't hurt the brand.
No.
But now it's almost like, and I don't know how many years ago that was, a lot. But now it's being talked about again, right? And there's been
Right.
comparisons from that to what's happening right now.
Correct.
Do you think this is something, because American Eagle is a huge company and
Mhm.
will stop, like, when things like this happen, and I'm just curious from a PR side, will it hurt them?
I mean, you never actually know what will happen because you could think one thing and then it goes the other direction,
Right.
right? I think there's always that moment where when the people start talking about it and then it keeps, evolving into much more, it's you kind of hold your breath and like which direction is this going in? And then you would have to have more meetings and bring the teams together to assess what kind of damage did this do?
Right.
How do we address this? Because did they take the ads down?
I don't
I
think
don't
so.
know. I don't know. That is a good question. But do we pull the ads? Do we have to release an apology? Do we have to address it, make a statement, right? You have to come together as a group to assess and say, what do we need to do? Yes, price and stock is up, but that might be fleeting. It might go right back down,
Right.
right? So that might be not a long term initiative where they're excited about it. They might not need to think about long term where we are as a brand. Why did we do this? Does this align with who we are? Does it make sense for us? Why didn't we go a slightly different direction for this where still we would have had Sydney Sweeney and it still would have done really
Right.
well, but at least then our brand wasn't jeopardized.
Well, too, the tagline on all of the videos is Sydney Sweeney has great genes.
Very
So that's
largely.
like, right. And it's on everyone. So that's like that double entendre. Like, she has great genes in the literal sense, like she got a good pair of denim on, or is it she has good genes because she's blonde hair, blue eyes? Like, like, I'm just curious. Again, I'd love to be a fly on the wall when they were talking about that, because I know when we sit in meetings, right, and we're brainstorming ideas and things for clients, right, or even for ourselves,
Mhm.
and we're talking about, let's say, I don't know if it's taglines or whatever it is, there's always like, okay, well, how will we be perceived? Will somebody read into this? I feel like in this day and age, you really are looking at every angle just to make sure you have
Mhm.
all bases covered. So I'm curious, when they came up with that tagline, or whoever
Mhm.
did, Sydney Sweeney has great genes, were they saying, well, that's a play on words? Like, did they know how it was going to be perceived? Like, when you
I
say
mean,
something,
you know what? You kind of have to question.
like, I
Did
want
they
to
do
talk
it
to the
on purpose?
person
Did they
who
do it
came
on
up with the line.
purpose? Were they like, let's make this controversial. Let's go all the way in with it
Well,
and see if we hit the backlash, then we'll deal with it.
I'd love to know who, because let's say I was the person who came up with the line. Like, I want to know, is
I
that
would be
person going
dying.
like,
I would
saying,
die.
hey, everyone's talking about me, so to speak, or are they like, ooh,
I'm in
shit, maybe I
trouble.
shouldn't have come up with that? I don't know. Does somebody get put on the hook? How does that work? Like, it's like, how is it when you make a mistake at work and you always say, okay, just own your mistake, right? Just tell your boss, like, hey, that was me. Sorry about that. I didn't mean that. Okay, do better next time. Well, does somebody say, okay, so and so, you were the one with the idea for the tagline. We're getting ripped all over the place. Or is it like, hey, you got everybody talking about us? I mean, American Eagle didn't need this to be talked about because it is a brand that is.
But maybe they need a little revamping, a little push to get more people in.
I don't know.
But what I do think is interesting is back to the Brooke Shields, right? Brooke Shields, that commercial with Calvin was in the 1980s. Dare I say, we do the math on that, 40 years ago? Things were so different. Brands were there was no social media back then.
No.
So now take this and now it's viral within 24 hours. I mean, not even 24 hours at that point.
Well, it's funny because being that was in the 80s and that only was whether it was in a magazine or a newspaper, it was just, or a TV ad, like it was just in print or visual, but it wasn't like social media where it's all over the place viral.
Right.
Like, I don't know if I would have called anything like then viral.
Right.
So did anybody say to themselves like, well, maybe this could go a little crazy. Remember, although maybe everybody in the room did not remember.
Maybe
the
they
80s.
don't know that.
Maybe they were not born. I don't know.
They don't know the commercial until now.
Exactly.
But it's interesting. I'm curious to hear everyone's. I want to know what you think. Comment below. Let us know your PR perspective on this. Do you think it hurts American Eagle? Do you think this will help revitalize it a little bit in a new modern way? I don't know.
Or maybe it'll just blow over and people won't. I don't know.
Let us know though.